I wasn't prepared to go into this season or go into another year with Kyle without, sitting in front of her and saying, okay, you know what? It's time to put it on the table. Let's be real. Let's be open. Let's be honest. Because if we're not friends and we're not going to be, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Virtual reality.
All right, Dorit Kemsley, Danny, and I are so excited to chat with you, especially ahead of a new season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And because your name is on the tip of everyone's tongue, I feel like in the premiere episode, you are really pushing that storyline forward. There's so much going on with you.
Can you let me talk?
It's okay, Kyle. It's time for you to listen.
How are you feeling about to relive the PK of it all, the Kyle of it all? Like it's so emotional, I would imagine.
It is. And it just gets far more intense. So you've just dipped your toe in the water. That's all I can say. You know, you know, because I've done this for a long time, so I know that you're going to live it and then you're going to have to relive it. So you prepare yourself mentally, emotionally. Doesn't make it easier per se, but it's par for the course. So I'm expecting it. I never, don't forget I live it, and then watching it is a whole different ball game. So I will be experiencing it more than just reliving it, experiencing it, in a edited version. So
I feel like it must have been such a hard thing because to go through an issue in your marriage is one thing.
We're talking like 5 times a day.
I know, but we're not going to.
Kyle told me PK texts her.
And then when someone has something like that, the people you would lean on in those moments are your friends. But then to have a fractured friendship as well, I just like, how were you able to mentally pick yourself up? Like, were you just surprised that you could pour into other people? Did you just kind of start to lean on yourself a little bit more? Like, how did you walk through that?
Well, Danny, you're absolutely right. The only problem is that for Kyle and I, she hadn't been somebody that I could lean on for a sustained period of time. And that was the issue. So going into this season, there was a lot of stuff that was left unsaid. And I really felt like I'd reached a point in my life where, I had just separated from my husband after being together for 13 years. No idea where that was going. I felt like I reached a point where I want to be around friends of mine that I'm calling my friends, my true friends, my good friends, people that are, that I would move heaven and earth for, that it's reciprocated, that it's real. And I had felt like there was, for a sustained period of time, for a good couple of years, there was a fracture in mine and Kyle's friendship that felt very disingenuous, and I really needed to understand, has our friendship taken a turn? Is it different? Do I need to reevaluate this friendship? Are the feelings mutual? Some of the things that were said publicly were very hurtful. And it was our friendship that was, on blast. So I wasn't prepared to go into this season or go into another year with Kyle without, sitting in front of her and saying, okay, you know what? It's time to put it on the table. Let's be real. Let's be open. Let's be honest. Because if we're not friends and we're not going to be, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I don't want to pretend like we are when none of the behaviors are supporting, a good friendship.
Well, it's interesting, Dorit. We just chatted with Kyle recently, and she said by the end of the season, you guys got to a better place than where you started. But the trouble is the experience of filming a reality show and then reliving it. You remember all the things that transpired, and then you see all the things that were said behind each other's back, which then sort of brings the feelings back up. And then the press cycle also makes it difficult because Kyle just said, I think in a recent interview, that things happened off camera that made her question her friendship with you. Do you know what she is talking about specifically, or is there anything you would like to clarify about that?
I don't know specifically because I think sometimes Kyle can pull things from all over the place and to try to make a point, but she's not really making a point. I think when you are elusive and you don't give clear answers, it's hard to understand. So even I don't know what she's talking about. What I can say is this. I understand to some degree what she means by that. However, I think if you truly do get to a place, right, in a friendship where you strip it all down and you get back to brass tacks and you're just starting fresh and you're working and strengthening the foundation of your friendship, then things that were said in a moment where things weren't good, or, reliving it and seeing it isn't going to spark an emotion that's going to make you question your friendship or not be friends anymore. So that already, just that thought process is the kind of stuff for me that makes me say, oh, okay, how strong is a friendship really? Because I think you could, in a really good friendship, you can pick up the phone, you can have your feelings, of course. You can say, this didn't make me feel good, or I didn't like that, and then talk that through, but you don't go backwards, and maybe that will be the case, who knows, for Kyle and I, whether we kind of have to take a step back to go forward, and then, it's the reunion, whether or not we both feel better watching the journey. But I know for Kyle and I, for me, I think that Kyle and I were able to move forward, and I think you'll see that journey. And that is something that obviously made both of us very happy. There is, though, a journey that we had to take to get there. And I think that even where we got was not at I wouldn't say we got to a place where we were stronger and better than ever. Let's put it that way.
Well, another journey that Danny and I are really interested in hearing more about is what is going on with you and Sutton after she was in London talking smack with Lisa Barlow. I was so shocked, Dorit, because it was coming for your finances and then coming for your looks, which that two things you kind of don't touch. How are you feeling?
The only thing she's missing is my fashion, but that bitch won't be talking about my fashion. I'm going to tell you, this is Sutton, and surprised, no. Have a lot to say, yes. And I almost, I'm almost thankful that she continues to put her foot in her mouth and continues to, this is what Sutton likes to do. It's who she thinks that she now has become, the person. She likes the attention. She thinks she does, she likes the headlines. She likes everybody that's got her name at the, on the tip of their tongue. But what she doesn't like, and she doesn't do very well with, is dealing with the consequences, the fallout. You cannot run, you cannot hide, you cannot cower and just say, oh, I need to do better. I need to be a better friend. It's just, it's like a cycle that kind of is, we need to get off the merry-go-round. It's a lot of the same. So I think it'll be really interesting. She can say what she wants. I mean, the hysterical thing is this: at least if facts were coming out of her mouth, at least if she had something that was noteworthy. But I stand here today, and Evan and Danny, I tell you this, hand on my heart, and I promise you, I would happily tell you, if I did anything other than my boobs, any plastic surgery, and I have not. And the interesting thing, because it was sent to me, is that I think Lisa Barlow had said, well, she's pretty, and Sutton said, well, anyone can be pretty if with plastic surgery, insinuating that I had had plastic surgery to be pretty. And I was thinking to myself, why hasn't Sutton done it then? She has the money, right? I mean,
300K a month plus.
right? She can afford vodka and plastic surgery. So why hasn't she done it if it's that easy? I'm just curious. Leave it at that.
Dorit, do you know what? Everyone is saying season 7, Dorit is back, and honey, she is. You are a shade assassin.
Oh, listen, the bitches that want to come for me, bring it on.
Oh,
bring it on.
we love to hear that.
Oh, I welcome it.
Wait, because like everyone's saying, it's like feeling like season 7 Dorit. Does season 7 Dorit have thoughts that, because everyone saw over the weekend, PK and Mauricio had a boys' time with the Summer House cast in Miami, which is it made me laugh and kind of be like, what is happening here? What did you think when you saw that, if you saw that?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I have spoken to PK, and him and Mo were in Miami. I don't know exactly what you were talking about, so I'll have to ask PK about it. But listen, they had a boys' weekend. There was there was a group of them. Some of the guys that PK's known for 40 years. So listen, I'm sure they're having fun, and yeah.
When you talked to, does he have thoughts at all about how you and Kyle are doing now? Because you guys, I mean, that was like the double date group, or it felt like, yes.
I know. It's funny because he saw the first episode, and he said to me, I see what Kyle's doing. So I think it's interesting when you're able to, sort of look at things and watch, I guess, how things play out. And that was just that. Listen, I think that, for him, much like for me, I can tell you, I would love for things to be the way they once were. I think it's very sad that PK and Mo got stronger and stronger. Kyle and I got weaker. I never in a million years would have thought that. I think that the friendship that I believed we had was very special and important to me. And the thing that upset me or bothered me the most was that it felt like I was the only one in the friendship that felt that way. And even though you can say it, right, because it sounds good, if your actions don't match it, then I can't live in that fake world. I very much have reached a point in my life where real has to be real. So if it's not, then I don't have time for it.
Yeah. Now, Dorit, I know we got to let you go, but really quickly, speaking of PK, after reuniting on Halloween and after going through that terrible situation with Jagger recently, and I'm so glad he's doing better, has that created space for the two of you to maybe reconsider where you're at in your marriage and bond and possibly squash the separation?
I mean, Evan, I'll be honest, I think that in order for PK and I to even consider reconciliation, we would have to do work. And I think that no matter what, I think that there's work to be done. And if we both want to do it, I think that it can only help us in future, individually and collectively. Because regardless, whether we head to divorce, whether we head to reconciliation, whether we are, best friends, I think that we need to remain amicable. We need to be friends. There's no reason why we shouldn't and why we can't. I would like to see, for that to get as strong as it can possibly get, because it can withstand pressures and it can withstand things that kind of get in the mix. So I think that regardless, I don't have an answer. I don't have the answer for that now. I think for PK and I to rush back into reconciliation, we would do ourselves a disservice, because we got here. And I think that the idea was to take some time apart in order to reassess, to do the work, and then either come back stronger and better and sure, or, to find a way to just make sure that communication is always at its best.
Yeah, well, we wish you two the best always. We can't wait to see the rest of the season play out, and we appreciate you for taking the time to chat, Dorit. We love you so much.